Getting right into today's video, we're going to be doing my client Brittany's nails. So these are probably going to be one of the last few sets that I do for the summer, and then we're going to be transitioning into all of the holiday designs. So for this set, we went from a very vibrant green, pink, nude. We did flowers and all kinds of topical nail art. Now I did go ahead and kind of debulk the acrylic just a little bit before I am going in with this process. So do note that I did file them a smidge. Her nails are very long, which requires them to be extra thick. So whenever I do my backfill specifically on her, I tend to leave a good amount of that color underneath, and then I go in with the new one over top. That way I don't have to overtire myself, since her nails are on the longer side and it can be a little bit longer of a process, especially when doing a backfill. So I went ahead and debulked them a smidge. Now I'm going in with my 5-in-1 bit, and I'm essentially just going in around that cuticle area. I want to focus on that specifically to debulk it a little bit more, but also to get rid of any lifting areas that she may have gotten. So once I'm done with that process, I'm going in with my sanding band. This one is from Profiles Backstage. It's the extra long skinny one. So it is smaller than typical mandrel bits, which allows you to get into those hard to reach areas. I am using medium grit. That has been my go-to for the longest time. So I'm going to be going ahead and gently buffing the surface of her natural nail, while also at the same time removing any excess lifting that I may have not gotten taken care of with my 5-in-1 bit. And I am actually avoiding her cuticle area because she is a little bit on the sensitive side. So super careful when I'm doing this process. And then I'm just going to be focusing on removing any lifted areas along with buffing the surface of the nail. This is just going to create a nice etched surface so that all the products adhere properly. Now I did go ahead and clean the surface with a lint-free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail Swipe. Now I'm going in with the dehydrator. This one I believe is from Not Polish. And then once I'm done doing that process, I'm going in with my primer of choice. For her, I use the acrylic primer from Kiara Sky, as it is HEMA free. It has a little bit of a thicker consistency, so I know it's not going to overflow easily into her cuticle areas. And specifically because she does have sensitive skin, I try to steer clear from anything that will do just that. So I'm going to go ahead and just focus on that natural nail that is exposed and try to get it all into those hard to reach areas so that everything adheres properly. Now I did think this would be kind of cool to include in here. I always swatch all the colors that they kind of gravitate towards, and then we pick from there. So she ended up going with a mixture of 2 of the colors that I swatched for her. So you can see the little jar in the background. I ended up kind of mixing it until it was to her liking. We're going to be doing lots of strawberries. So the base color is going to be this beautiful pinkish red color that I mixed. And I'm going in over top of her nails that she currently has. The reason why I'm doing this is because with colored acrylic, the strength of the acrylic is a little bit compromised just because of all that pigment in there. So what I like to do is go in thin layers, and then we encapsulate with clear just to make sure that the strength is there. And if she hits the nail, it's going to be less likely of it to crack. So I'm going to be going in with the full color on most of the nails, and then on some we're going to be doing a very sloppy ombre because we are going to be adding some nude on the top portion of the nail. Now, if you guys are curious, for today's video, I'm using the Chaun Legend acrylic brush in a size 10. And then for my monomer of choice is always Kiara Sky because it is henna free. Now do note that when working with such pigmented colored acrylic, the liquid to powder ratio is going to be slightly different than what you are used to using with clear or just nude cover colors. So do note that if you notice that it's a little bit harder to work with, that is exactly why. You will get a little bit more comfortable, especially if you're a beginner nail tech and kind of struggling to use colored acrylic. The one that I'm using here in today's video is a combination of two different colors from Not Polish, and so their formula is a little bit more blendable, which will be easier to do a full cover now, just like I'm doing in today's video. Now, like I mentioned, we're going to be doing some sloppy ombres on a few of the nails. And I say sloppy because I didn't take my time because I knew I was going to go over top of the surface of the nail with some nail art and it was going to be completely covered. Now, if your OCD does not allow you to do that, then go ahead and perfect the ombre. However, I like to cut corners where I can. So I went ahead and I added my red color. And then I'm going in with my nude. I still did blend it in just a smidge, but typically I would want that area where they both touch to be a lot more blended, and I didn't focus on that specifically. So I'm just focusing on adding both of the colors on the nail and for them to transition into each other smoothly, but not super blended. So I went ahead and added my red. Now I'm going in with my nude color. And I'm just going to be focusing on that cuticle area. Again, not super blending it at all whatsoever. And just getting those colors on there. Now, once we're done with that basic acrylic application, I'm going to be going in with my clear acrylic and we are encapsulating these. Now, do note that I'm not adding a huge amount of clear acrylic. I really just want to go in and add a little bit more structure and a little bit more strength back into those nails, especially because they are long. I always recommend to kind of saturate the surface of the acrylic that you're going to be encapsulating. That way it gives a little bit better surface to kind of glide over and not cause any air bubbles. If you've ever noticed that your clear acrylic is causing air bubbles, it's just that thin layer between the dried up acrylic and the wet acrylic. It kind of creates a little bit of bubbles in between if you do not kind of prep it with a little bit of monomer. So you'll kind of see me throughout the entire process just add a little bit onto that dry surface, and I essentially just grab my brush with a little bit of monomer and I give it a nice little wipe, and then we go in with our application and it works just fine. Next, we are taking our e-file. I'm using the Not Polish e-file and I do have it at about a speed of 10 to 12,000 RPMs, and I'm using my 5-in-1 bit. I'm going to be focusing on that cuticle area first. I love the 5-in-1 bit, so if you've never tried it, definitely give it a go and let me know your thoughts. And if you have tried it, definitely let me know in the comment section if you like it and why. So I'm going to go in lightly over the entire surface, and then we're going to be switching over to my hand file. Now taking my hand file, we're going to be focusing on those sides of the nail. I always recommend, no matter how clean you apply your acrylic, you always want to go in and finish file. It's just going to make everything a little bit more crisp. So I'm going in on the sides, making sure that that shape is nice and sharp. And then I'm going to be filing the surface of the nail as well with my hand file. If you are struggling with your e-file, always go in with a hand file. It's going to give you a little bit more stability, and you're going to be able to apply the same amount of pressure throughout the whole thing a little bit better than you would with an e-file. Don't be scared. I feel like a lot of the time people are so rushed into using an e-file that you don't realize that you could just use a hand file and get the same effect, or sometimes even better. So definitely go in with your hand file. If you are struggling, there's no shame in the game. Just go ahead and use your hand file, and it will be such a game changer. So I've been doing this a lot recently, and I just feel like you get a super even file, and you're able to see a little bit better where you need to file it a little bit more. Now I did go ahead and buff the surface of the nail as well, and then she washed her hands. I went in with the lint-free wipe and a little bit of young nail swipe just to clean the surface from any oils, from any soaps. And then we are going in with our nail art. So very super simple, easy process to begin with. We just mixed a little bit of a lighter like butter yellow color in gel liners. And I'm going to be using my short liner from Veeda to create these little seeds, which you would typically see on a strawberry. And I'm going to be doing that on pretty much all of the nails. And then we're going to be doing tons of 3D nail art. So super simple. You can make them a little bit more round, a little bit more skinny. You can do whatever you feel would look good. I'm kind of doing more of like a little teardrop type of design. So you kind of start off with a little dot and then just spread it upwards. Now for these, I am going to be flash curing them in between every nail. I kind of wanted the process to go a little bit quicker. So I'm using the flash little lamp from Not Polished. Absolutely love it. It's such a game changer and definitely recommend it. I love that it is touch activated, so it makes it a little bit easier of a process to turn on and off. Now immediately going into our 3D nail art, I'm using my favorite acrylic brush for 3D. I got it off of Amazon. I have it linked in my Amazon storefront if you guys are interested. I'm going to be using a yellow color. This is going to be our little center for our flowers. Once I let it sit a little bit, I'm going to be going in with white and doing my little petals. So if you've ever struggled with 3D little flowers, I'm here to tell you, don't overthink it. The more we overthink a design, the worse it's going to turn out. And I say this from personal experience. I feel like we get ourselves in this mindset that I'm not going to be able to do it. So then we kind of fail. But the designs that I always kind of just go in thinking it'll be fine and dandy, they turn out a lot better. So for little flowers, I'm just doing a little tiny bead, and then I immediately press it to kind of push out those sides. And of course, you can kind of see me moving back and forth from a little bit more to the right or the left of the petal, just to kind of spread it out. And the whole goal is to kind of get that center where it's touching our little yellow center a lot thinner and a little bit more see-through. And then you just repeat that all around our tiny little circle. So I like to do the centers before. That way you kind of have a guide on exactly where you need to infill our little petals. And then we're going to repeat that on the other one as well. Now we're going to be adding tons of leaves on our strawberries. So I'm going to be doing basic leaves for these. I'm taking a green color and a little bit of a lighter one as well, kind of making them two-toned. And then we're going to press just like we did the petal, but this time we're going to drag the center all the way through to make it a little bit more pointy. And then I kind of work the acrylic until it stops drying. That way I'm still able to imprint any little details. If it starts smoothing itself out, I can create a little bit more texture. And yeah, so again, bead of acrylic, we are pressing it into a nice little circle. And then I immediately start pressing the center of it and pulling it through to create a little pointy petal. And then we continue to work it, expanding it a little bit more on the sides, and then making that point a little bit more pointy and a little bit more clean. Now lastly, we're going to be going in with some gem gel from Not Polish. And lastly, we're going to be going in with some gem gel from Not Polish. You can kind of take different approaches to this design. I like to sometimes put it on my little Artista palette, put a good amount on there, take a liner brush and pick it up that way. That way we get a little bit more clean lines. I think I was trying to experiment on this specific nail to see which process would be a little bit easier, a little bit cleaner, and all that good stuff. And then I switched over to the actual process that I usually take, I'm pretty sure. But again, flash curing that in the lamp. And then we're going to give a full cure for the rest of the nails.
This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones. Day one. Showed up. Day one before the glow up.
Now, once we're fully done with that, cure in the light for a full 60 seconds. And once we are out of the light, we're going to be going in with a top coat. I am taking the Babe top coat from Profiles Backstage. It is HEMA-free and stain resistant. So we're going in on the entire surface, in exception of the 3D that we created. And we want to make sure we get it into all those little grooves of our nail art. And then again, we're going to be curing in the light for a full 60 seconds. I like to do 2 rounds just to be safe.
Show love, show love. Ooh, take it back to when nobody used to know me. Let's tell you I was just chilling with my homies. Now that we're popping, everybody is talking. This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor. This is for my day ones, day one. This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones I made ya. Deep side sweating out flavor.
But that pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton. and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.